Hi everyone, it's Joy and welcome to my Woohoo Weekend Black Friday video. I am a demonstrator from the Denver, Colorado area here in the US, and I am going to be showcasing the frosted gingerbread and gingerbread dies from the Gingerbread and Peppermint suite. So these dies are great. They have all these different pieces to cut out the little peppermints and these different shapes. So this paper is so fantastic. It has these pre-printed images and these dies that just fit perfectly around these images. So it saves. You can get premium coloring without having to do the coloring, which is always a bonus. And it also has these adorning designs, decorative masks. So there are 4 of them in here. There is a snowflake, and this one looks like gingerbread icing, and then stripes, and then these great diamond pattern design here. Also, this paper, there are 24 designs, 12 on one side and 12 on the other side. They do come in 6x6. So we are going to be doing some of the decorative masks today. Actually, just one of them, this one here. I'm going to be using a blending brush. The blending brushes come in 3 to a pack. And my Stamparatus. And a piece of a 1/4 sheet of cardstock. So if you cut your piece of cardstock into 4 pieces, 1/4 of a sheet of cardstock is what you will need. So now I'm going to just take some washi tape and put some of that on the back to keep my cardstock from slipping. And I'm going to use my Stamparatus to kind of hold this down. Let's attach our 1/4 size piece of cardstock onto some grid paper and then line up our mask. And then I'm going to take some magnets, and I purposely cut my cardstock larger than the piece that I need for my project. So these magnets are going to go on top to kind of hold that in place. And then I need to bring in some old olive ink and my blending brush. Now you want to start out with a light amount of ink onto your cardstock. This is basic white cardstock that I'm using. I'm going to get a good amount of ink to start with. And I'm going to start at the bottom. And I don't want to do it too hard. Just kind of a light touch is all you need to start out with. And then I'm going to do kind of an ombre look. So this will lighten as I go up the piece of cardstock. Let's take a peek. Oh, that looks pretty good. Now, once you have your ink on your cardstock, you can set it aside just a little bit to dry. And then you will want to just wash this off with water or some mild soap and water, maybe even some cleaner, your Stampin' Mist, and that should be perfectly fine. Now we have this piece, and I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer, and I'm going to trim that piece to the size that I want it. Which is 5 1/8 inches by 2 3/8 inches, or let's see, that is 6.2 centimeters by 14.1 centimeters. There is that piece. And I'm going to bring in my sample now so you can kind of see what I'm going for. This is what they call an easy peasy gift card holder. So you are going to split the front panel of your card base. Let's bring in a card base, which is a half sheet of your full sheet of cardstock. Here in the US, we use an A2, which is 4 1/4 inches by 11 inches. If you are using an A4, it would be 10 1/2 centimeters by 29.7 centimeters. And I have already scored this. And I'm going to bring my paper trimmer in one more time. And I'm going to set this up to be, let's see, 1 1/2 inches from the edge here. And that should be about 3 1/2 centimeters. So I'm just going to cut that down to the fold. Not going to go farther than the fold. And then when you go ahead and fold this in half, it makes these two panels. And I'm going to bring in some early espresso. This is a very nice neutral to outline this so that it will coordinate with kind of this dark outline that comes out when you die cut the ornament out of the designer series paper. So I have a strip of early espresso and another strip of early espresso to fit within a border around. So my early espresso is 1 1/4 by 5 1/4, or 3 centimeters by 14.4 centimeters, and 2 1/2 inches by 5 1/4 inches, or 6 1/2 centimeters by 14.4 centimeters. So let's go ahead and attach those, leaving an even border around. And as you can see, I got some nice inky fingers, but that just means I'm having fun. Now I have a strip of designer series paper, which is 1 1/8 by 5 1/8 inches, or 2.7 centimeters by 14.4 centimeters if you're doing an A4 card versus an A2 card. So this just goes right on top, and I have a skinny border around with the early espresso. And then here's our piece that we use the adorning masks for. So we can go ahead and just attach that. And again, leaving a skinny border around. Now I need to bring in some tear and tape. And we're going to use that to make our little pocket. So you've got your tear and tape right along that edge, and then this edge here, this bottom edge, and that's all the adhesive you need for this strip. And then you want to go ahead and just lift off the paper for that tear and tape. And then attach that down. So that will create a little pocket that you can put a gift card in. And of course, I went ahead and got a little too anxious on that. So let's try to see if we can lift that back up, and we cannot. So we are just going to go with it. My background piece, I was supposed to put that on before I attached this. So we are just going to trim this down a little bit. Make that to be, let's see, using my trusty ruler here, trim that down to about 2 3/4 inches. Let's go ahead and trim that. And then we can go ahead and just attach that inside here. I am going to have to lift this up just a little bit and then attach that back. But let's go ahead and get that in here so that we have something to write a little message on inside our card. This is what you do if you make a little bit of a mistake from your design card to your card for video. I'm going to go ahead and get a glue dot and stick a glue dot under this corner so that that is now down, and no one, when they see this card in the future, will ever know. Now, since we're working on the inside, let's go ahead and take this ornament that I die cut from this designer series paper and just attach that on the inside at a little angle, and then pretend that this is a gift card, so that just slides right in there. And let's go ahead and finish the rest of our card. We need this piece and this piece, and I'm going to fold this ornament that has been die cut in half. And let's get a bone folder so we got a nice crisp fold line, and bring in some of the multi-purpose liquid glue and just a very skinny amount right on that crease. We don't want a fat line of glue, just a skinny line of glue, and then lay those directly on top of each other and let those kind of come together and let that set just a little bit. Now I have a piece of basic white, old olive, and real red, and these are all made to where they have skinny layers. So the basic white is 2 1/4 inches by 3 1/2 inches, or 5.7 centimeters by 9.2. The old olive is 2 3/8 inches by 3 5/8 inches, or 6 centimeters by 9.5 centimeters. And the real red is 2 1/2 inches by 3 3/4 inches, or 6.3 centimeters by 9.8 centimeters. So now we need to stamp our greeting in the old olive ink. I'm doing the Wishing You a Merry Christmas. make sure we get that inked well. And then do this right in this little bottom corner here. Beautiful. And attach our layers. Before I finish doing that, I have a piece of real red double-stitched satin ribbon, and I want to put some of that at the top here. Now I can attach it to this real red layer. Also want to bring in a paper piercing mat, and since I cannot find my take your pick tool, I'm going to use a really old piercing tool, and I'm going to poke a hole into this, make it a good size hole. Now I need some of the white Baker's Twine from this Baker's Twine Essentials pack. And I need about 12 inches. So let's just measure that. And I want to pull this through. See if I can pull this through. I've made it a little bit longer than I need it. Yeah, I'm going to have to use this tool to help poke it through. There we go. That's all it needed. And this is going to get tied around this red piece. Going to go ahead and do that twice on here. So I started a knot, and I'm going to do it again for another one. And now I'm going to tie a bow. Just kind of play with it until you get it the way you want it. And then if you'll notice, this comes up like this so that you can go ahead and see a little bit of this white ornament showing through behind. And I'm going to take a little bit of a dimensional, just these tiny little skinny pieces under here. And we're going to take one of them and put it on one side. Get it right up next to that fold that has been glued down. Right, exactly right there. Press that down, and then we're going to get another one. We're going to save that dimensional piece for later, and we're going to trim this one. And this one is going to go on the other side. Now this is a trick that works for when you have something and you kind of, you want it to present kind of up, but when you mail it in the mail, it's going to flatten and it's going to squish it down. So it will go ahead and pop back up after you get it out of the envelope. And let's go ahead and put a little glue dot on the back side of this ornament so that it doesn't go anywhere. And I want this to go at kind of a little angle. I kind of like things a little off because, you know, well, maybe I'm a little off. And now we can go ahead and attach this to the front of our card, but we don't want to put glue, you know, all the way because this has to be free. So no glue can go back here. So let's move that over so that we know for sure we're not going to get any glue on that part. And then attach that to the front of our card like so. And there we have it's attached, but there's no glue there. And then for one last little embellishment, we have these gingerbread and peppermint acrylic shapes. And I'm going to grab one of the acrylic shapes out of here. Oh, and spill it all over my table in the process. But that's okay. We'll just sweep those aside for now and put those away later. And get out the one I want, which looks like a little fleur-de-lis almost. And get a little glue dot. And attach that right here to have just a little bit of an extra embellishment on this card. And there you have it. This is my easy peasy. And if it would have worked a little better if I had not gotten ahead of myself on the inside pieces. But you have your easy peasy gift card holder. It doesn't have a lot of extra work to make it happen. And it is something that you will be proud to give, and the person will be more than happy to receive. So I hope you enjoyed my Black Friday Woohoo Weekend video. We will keep an eye out for your comments and answer your comments as we go along. Talk to you soon. Bye.